Okay, hello everybody. This is Helen, and we're doing the week number 2 of our needle felting class. And what I did last week was we started out with that lump of yarn, and we worked on making the shape. And I believe I showed you how to make the ears, and we inserted that into here. And you do this carefully. You just insert this and secure this. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm shoving the fibers in here. Now I can also shape this. If I keep poking here, it's going to push in the fiber. Okay, and then I can also kind of like make this sink in a little bit by poking on it. All right, and I attached a little nose, and I can kind of define it more by poking around the nose. Okay, because I had some of that pink fiber here, I went ahead and laid some of that white fiber and needle felted that in here. Okay, so this is the mouse, and let's see. And I just happened to put this little embroidery thing. I guess it could be a Christmas sticker. Right now, he doesn't have any feet. This one doesn't have any feet. So let's see. We could give it feet if you want to. Oh, wait, we need a tail. Okay, we need a tail first. And I think the tails are kind of pinkish too. So remember last week I said you can combine 2 different colors. Okay, let's see, here we go. So that's a lot for the tail, isn't it? We will take some of the white, and I guess the tails are kind of pinkish, right? I'm just going to take a little bit and see what happens if I try my best to mix these 2 colors together. I think I need more. Okay, it's kind of hard to spread out that pink. Okay, let me just guess that I need about this much. All right, so I'm going to try to mix these 2 colors, but keeping it kind of linear here. All right, so you might think, well, how do I get that skinny tail? Okay, this is where we use soapy water. The soapy water is, and if it's warm water or, kind of hot water, it works better. But what the soapy water does is the wool roving, the hairs have scales like our human hair, and the soapy water, warm water, is going to open up the scales, and then they're going to lock in as we kind of like move them around. It's going to lock in, and that's what causes it to shrink and become tight. Once they're locked in, it's not going to unlock itself. Once it shrinks, and it stays that way. So why do sheep who go out and stay out in the rain don't have matted wool? Well, they've got that lanolin and that greasy lanolin in there that's protecting the wool. So when they get some wool rubbing, they wash out a lot of the, I think they remove the lanolin. I'm not quite sure what the process is. Okay, so I have here soapy water, and I'm actually going to put it in here and wet the, it's going to absorb a lot of the water. So I've got soapy water, and then I'm going to kind of roll it. Okay, and what that is supposed to be doing is felting it. Now, some wool rovings it won't do. Okay, like for example, with mohair, I never got it to do that. I never got it to felt. Okay, so I'm just gonna, you might want to rub it on a, what do you call it? Popcorn, plastic, what are those packing things that are like bubble wrap, that's what they're called. Bubble wrap, you can rub it on. Or I find this is the best thing, these sushi bamboo thingies, okay? Or if you have bamboo blinds that you don't use anymore, you can try that. So I'm just gonna rub it against this, and it's kind of messy because it requires a lot of water. I may not have enough soap in mine, okay? And you just kind of do it by trial and error. I really don't know what the exact amount of soap you put in. I never thought about that. Usually I put in a lot of soap, but then I have to go, once it felts, I have to rinse it under the sink, and I didn't want to go walk all the way to the sink while I'm doing this here. So I didn't put that much soap in there. Okay, it's starting to felt, and you can put pressure on this, and the heat really helps, like the heat between my hands, heat coming from my hands. Okay. I'm going to leave the end not, if I can avoid it, I'm going to not felt the end if possible, because that's where I'm going to attach it to the body. That. Okay, so I'm just going to rub it as tight as I can. And sometimes the heat from my hands will felt it. Now, if you have like a long haired cat, I don't know about dogs, but if you have a long haired cat like I do, her fur is real fine. I don't even have to add water or soap. I just rub hers between my hands and it felts. Okay. Of course, it'll felt harder, tighter if I use soap and water. If you do use soapy water, like really soapy water, once you get it felted, just rinse it and squeeze it under the sink until all the soap is gone. Okay, so it's really gotten, remember how big it was? And now it's really tight. And I can make it a little bit tighter. It'll go down more. Okay. So it takes a lot of work. Okay, that's pretty good. And it's not going to come apart anymore. I mean, I can pull, and it will not come apart. I lost my fuzzy end, and I kind of don't like that part right there. So let me see where my scissors went. Oh, here it is. And we will cut this off. Okay. All right, so let me try to open this up. So normally you will want to dry this completely before you attach it, but because I didn't make another tail ahead of time and dried it, I'll have to use this one. Okay, so the mouse is going to get a tail. Okay, that's a good sized tail. If it's too long, I guess maybe it is too long. All right, it's a little bit too long, so I'll just cut it and see if I can flare out that. And it should be locked in tight, and I'm gonna try to flare it out a little bit here, as much as I can. Okay. All right, so it looks like that. And we are going to attach this to wherever it's supposed to be. And hopefully I don't have it crooked. Very carefully anchor it if I can. Now, when you make something like this, is that off center? Okay, that's okay. You can also make these. Don't let cats and dogs get a hold of this, okay? don't even let the cat find it, okay? They will find it and play with it. And it's not really for little children to play with. These aren't toys. These make great Christmas ornaments if you do Christmas trees. They also make fun things to, if you wear hats, you know, if you made flowers or fruits or something out of this, they make nice decorations for hats. Maybe for Easter, you can make a little tiny bunny for your hat. You can turn them into pins. You can, you know, anything you can decorate something. Okay, so I kind of have it anchored, but because there's a little pink here, I'm going to add a tiny, tiny bit of the white roving to seal it in better. So let's see. This stuff goes everywhere. Okay, here we go. Okay. So to secure it, just add a little bit around there. Anchor this down first. And remember, be careful, your fingers are not anywhere near the needles because it really, really hurts, and you will bleed a lot too, because these are like harpoons. Okay, so I'm going to make sure it's going to keep that tail in there. Now, on this mouse, we don't have feet right now. You can leave it without feet if you want. Oh, I don't even have eyes. Okay, we'll have to think about the eyes. Okay. But you can make feet and attach it. All right, so hold on just a second here. Okay, make sure it's really, and the tail is anchored in there real well. Okay, so now we got this mouse. Now, as far as the eyes are concerned, they do sell little, you know, eyes for these kind of animals. And what you do is you kind of make a little hole here, and then you take glue, and the eyes have like a stem on it, and you shove it in there. But what I do is I either just make a real tiny round ball of fleece, yeah, roving, different color roving, and I take the single needle tool and I just shove it in there. And if it's too big, I just keep working it, and you're basically pushing that wool roving in there so you can make it smaller. And you can also poke around the eye so that it kind of stands out. Okay, it defines the edge right there. Now on this one, I didn't do that. I just took embroidery floss and a long needle, and I made a French knot, but except for that one, I may have messed up. So I just made a French knot and a little teeny tiny mouth. On this one, I did the same thing. I just took embroidery floss and I just, I tried to make a French, I think I tried to make a French knot, but one got crooked. So I kind of like fudged it and made stitches to make it look like eyes. Okay. All right. So I'll show you how to do it without the embroidery floss. I'll show you how to do it with a little bit of wool roving. It's a little bit tedious, but this way you don't have to go out and buy another part, you know, like for the eyes or something. I'm just, the extra fleece I put on there, I'm just making sure it's on here. Okay. So this is definitely a blind mouse because it doesn't have any eyes right now. Okay. So we'll give it eyes. Let's see, usually they have red eyes, right? But I think that might be a little bit gross, so I'll give it gray eyes. How's that? This looks like, well, this is kind of blue gray. All right, you're gonna take, I think this, just a really tiny bit, and I think this might be too much actually. If you want, you actually can wet this. Let me wet this. Make a round ball, it'll felt, okay? And this is still big. Okay, so this made a big one. Let me see if I can get it to felt. I need 2 of them, so. Okay, so see how big it is right now? Okay, we're gonna try to get that real tiny. And I've got another one right here. Don't know if it's the same size. Let me see if I can felt this guy. Don't have much water in there, so I don't know how much it's gonna felt. Sometimes you will get wool roving that you can't felt. You could needle felt it, but the wet felting, it doesn't do. Okay, I sort of have 2, one smaller than the other, but that's okay, I think. All right, okay. So this one, I think, I don't know where they go. I think they go on the side because they're not predators, right? Okay, so I will put that there and anchor it first. Kind of dark in here. Okay. I will anchor this one first. And when you do this, you'll see it's getting shoved in there and you're losing it, okay? It's starting to get smaller and smaller. Let's get that guy anchored in there real good so it doesn't come out. And try to poke just in the center area if possible. Okay. Then, oh, that's a big eyeball. Okay, and the other side, this guy's going to be smaller, way smaller. Maybe I should add a little bit more, make sure I have the same size eyeball. Okay. And we're going to anchor that again. Okay. So now I have to shape it, make it smaller and shape it. So I'll just bring it and work on the edges a little bit of this one. May need a magnifying glass, it's getting tiny. This part needs to go in more, so be real careful here. Okay, it's still huge. So as you can tell, it takes a lot of poking. Get this in more, push in deeper. Okay, and this guy has to be tucked in. I think you can also just stitch little tiny beads on here. If you have a beading needle and small beads, like seed beads. Okay, so, oh, it's kind of crooked. Oh, well. It's okay. And I really can't see this. We have a cloudy day today, so it's a little bit dark here. Let me see if I can get that light over here. Okay. So you might want to have some good lighting when you do stuff like this. It's hard to see. Okay, let's see if this helps. Might be a little bit better, I think. Maybe not. All right, so where was I? I forgot which eye I was doing. Oh, this one. Okay, I can see a lot better now. All right, that helps. So I'm poking around the edge of the eye, trying to get this. Oh, he is really crooked here. Oh. Okay, I don't like it because it's way too crooked. So I am going to see if I can pull this out. You can pull it out. Okay, so I got it out. All right, now he's missing an eye. I'm going to move this up higher. So yes, you can pull out a lot of this if you make a mistake or you don't like where you stuck it. And if there's some gray residue left there, you can just needle felt some of the white roving in there to hide the discolored part. Okay, make sure he's balanced here. This might be the hardest part, trying to get the eyes in the right place. Really gonna push in deep here. Make sure it's not gonna come out. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is poke around where the white and the gray meet, okay? And when I do that, some of the stray fibers, I can tuck it in. But if you poke around that where the two colors meet, it makes it dimensional. Don't poke too much in the center of the eye, you know, because you want that raised a little bit maybe. Okay, but this will shape the eye socket pretty good. Okay, so I have some, you can, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it looks like it's crying because there's a little bit of gray here. So I'm gonna get some white here. And this white is way too long. I'm actually gonna cut it and cover up that gray if I can. If you buy one of those kits, sometimes they will actually, or usually they should actually have the eyes, the little plastic eyes. And then you can use that. I think sometimes they might even supply a nose, depending on the company, I guess. But you can just use the roving to make the nose. Okay, I'm covering up that gray. Okay. Okay, all right, let's do the other eye. I think it's better centered. Okay, the ears are a little bit off too. So you can see this is not a fast craft. And it's probably for people who live in countries where they're snowed in and being indoors a lot. But if you made all the holiday ornaments, winter holiday ornaments out of this, it's probably really cute. So I really poked around where the, and it made that eye stand out a whole lot. Okay. This one is a little bit bigger and I'm going to poke around it. Shrink down a little bit, define the, yeah, I'm going to have to poke it. It's a little bit bigger eyeball. Yeah, this is a bad project to let little children or even kids do because of the needle. And if you happen to have a group of people doing this, you don't want to share the needle, just in case they poke themselves and blood gets on the needle. So each person should have their own needle and no sharing. Okay, I think that's good enough. I think I can always fix it later. Still a little bit off center. Well, I'm not gonna worry about it, okay? So you can finish him here like this, or we can learn to add some feet. Feet is a little bit tedious to do because what you have to do is felt 3 of these things. Well, I guess a mouse would have 5, but you don't have to do 5, 3 is good enough. It reads as a foot. You have to do 3 of these things and then combine them and then attach them. So let's do 3 of them. And normally you would wet felt those, and you want to wet felt those ahead of time. So just to demonstrate how strong it is, this was the tail end I cut off, it is not going to pull apart no matter what. Okay. I think the feet on these guys are pink too. Let's see. This is way too pink. So once again, I'm going to combine it with white, tone it down a lot. And when you do this, sometimes little pieces of wool rubbing goes airborne. And so you may not want to breathe that in. So maybe wear a mask at those times when you do that. Okay, we're going to need much more than this. So I tried mixing that first batch, and then I'm going to see if I can blend this. Oh, wait, there's 4 of these feet, so we need more. Okay, I was thinking 2, but I need 4. Okay, maybe I better add a little bit of pink. Maybe I'll add a little bit of flesh. Let's see if I have flesh. This looks like peach. We'll add peach. It is kind of hard to mix these, especially if you're just doing it by hand. But, okay, that might be good enough. I really don't know what color their feet are. Okay, now I need to divide this. I need to like kind of even out straighten it out here. Okay, just kind of try to make them all go in one direction. Okay, that's as best as I can do. All right, we're going to attempt to divide this evenly in half and then divide this one evenly in half. So we have 4 of these. That one's not exactly even. I'll just, let's see. Kind of looks similar. Okay. Now, oh, this is getting complicated. All right, so what we need is, let's see, 3 toes on each bird times 4, and we need 12 of these. Okay. Well, that might get challenging, huh? Let's see, the easiest way to do is, let's have 6 of these instead of 4, okay? So mix these up again. Yeah, we'll do it that way. So I've got 2 here, move everything out of the way. And then divide this into 3-ish. Is that right? Yeah. So we have 6 of these lumps. Okay. They're not all the same. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to felt them like we did the tail. So I'm just going to take this and by hand, just kind of see if I can make it that kind of a shape. Okay. I am going to wet this. And let's see. So you can just buy these sushi things. They're real cheap. I think even World Market might have it, but I'm sure you can find it anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna wet this and gently start out gently, okay? And start, well, that's a big one. Okay, so that, see how long it got? Okay, so what we want are the ends to be pointy. Because these little pointy things are going to be the toes. This is going to be time consuming. Maybe I'll just do 1 foot so you won't get too bored watching me do this. Okay, and make sure your other wool pieces are out of the way. Because you don't want to accidentally get them wet before you're ready. Okay, it's starting to felt. So if you're making a whole bunch of mice, you would just sit here and make a bunch of these, you know, like the day before and let them dry overnight. Okay, and that way it's going to go fast. All right, really rub that hard with a lot of heat between my hands. The points, concentrate just on the points if you can. Okay, so that's pretty felted right there. Just the points is enough. About an inch in, okay? You can just rub it between your fingers too. So these are going to be the 3 toes. Now, if it's a little bit hairy on the tip, let's see if it'll work if we just trim the tip a little bit, okay? And then keep rubbing them. Whoops. Okay, so you'll make 6 of these, and then when you cut it in half, you'll have 12. And 3 toes on each foot. So I'll do another one, and I'll probably just do 1 foot for demo purposes. This probably was too much. I don't think it needed, well, oh no. Okay. Technically, you're supposed to cross these, but when I cross them, it's just really hard to make them into that shape. Okay, I'm gonna have to rub it here to sort of get that shape going. And then we're gonna soak it. I'm gonna squeeze out the excess because otherwise we're gonna have a puddle right here. And then gently shrink it down and start to add more pressure. And right now my hands are making me heat. As I do this, I'm adding a lot of pressure. Okay. Now, once again, I'm going to trim off anything hairy on the tip. Oh. Let's see if I can felt that down. Really put a lot of pressure on this, okay? Okay, normally I would, once they're felted, normally I would rinse these, but like I said, I hardly have any soap in this, so it's a little bit difficult for me to get this felted down. Wet this again. And it helps if the water is warm or hot, but it's gotten cold. And so hopefully the heat from my hands will warm it up and open those scales up. Okay. So now I've got two of these, okay? I'm going to move these guys out of the way, and I need to save these because they're the same color. Okay. And I would like to remove as much moisture out of these as possible. Okay. All right, so you would normally have like 6 of these done. And then I am going to cut them in half. Okay. And take 3 of them. I'll take 3 of tiny ones. Okay. So this will be, these are big feet for a little mouse. Okay. Well, it'll just have to be that. And then I'm going to take some of the white roving, part of its fur, just a little bit of it, and wrap it around where I think that the toes are going to end. Oops, I lost my toes. Let's do that again. Lost it. Lost my one toe. Okay, so I've got my 3 toes. See if I can put them next to each other. Wrap this around. I really don't know how long their toes are. Might be pretty long. Okay, so these are the toes. Now some people will add glue here so it kind of makes them stiff. I'm not going to do that. because the glue is sticky, and then every single fiber that's loose is going to stick onto that my fingers that have glue on it. Trouble here. Okay, so I've got the 3 toes. I wrapped the felt around it, and what I need to do is secure that. So I'm going to just at that part. I don't have to do it here. Just need to. I like this 3-prong one because I can get into I can do small areas, but get more coverage than doing a single needle. Okay, I'm anchoring that. And then I need to kind of blend it. I'm losing my toes again. Okay. Maybe I'll poke it right there in between. Oh, I think that's good enough. I'm afraid if I keep going, it's gonna get lost. All right, what to the rat? I think they look like, oh, I think they go like this. Well, I guess we can make it any way we want, but I'm just gonna say it goes like this. And then this part's hard because you might accidentally stab yourself. I need to anchor that in. So that's in there pretty okay. So I sort of have it anchored in right now. Now I'm going to, I really need to do the other side before I do the next step, but let me see if I can, let's see, what time is it? Oh. All right, let me see if I can do this without doing the other side. Okay, we need to fill in and cover some of this stuff, okay? So if I had the other foot, then I can just, kind of wrap it around him. But I don't have the other foot. Let me see if I can do with 1 foot. Maybe even wrap it around here a little bit. Okay. So I'm filling in that space, and so it doesn't look like it's stuck on there. It's just just go ahead and trim some of this off. Try to trim it like jaggedy. Oops. All right. Spread that out a little bit. So since this is a lot of work for just a little mouse, you really don't want to give this to your dog or a cat. They will destroy it. Okay. Now, right here, let's see. Okay, where is this hand? Okay. So right here, you can actually make it look like he has an arm, okay, coming out. So if you poke here, it dents it, it pushes in. Let me use the single one. And you can really define an arm here. And I'm also going to define its little cheek area, jaw, whatever you call it. Okay, so I pushed the wool roving in, so it kind of gives it a dimension right there. I do need to anchor this. This guy has a chubby arm. Okay, and if I don't like this part being thick, if you're careful, you can poke it and shrink it down. And I can't get to his between its fingers right now. Let's see. You can do that. Okay, so that's what he looks like right now with his arm. Okay. I think I need to show you how to do the back legs because they're a little bit different. They're gonna have to be chubbier. So this guy is coming to life. And what did I do with those? Oh, there they are. So we need to make 2 of these, right? Is it 2 of these? Yeah. No, just 1 of them because I've already had the other toes done. I have an extra toe right here. Okay, I'm gonna need, no, this is good enough. All right, so let's get this. It's a lot of pink in here. You really want to spread out those colors. Okay, see if I can do this one this way. So very gently start rolling it. Then you can start adding pressure. Let's see, I have to make sure I keep the fleece away from the water. Otherwise, it's going to felt those guys up and they don't need to be felted. Okay, let's see. Right. Oops. Once the pieces start, the fibers start interlocking, you cannot do this and try to make them join by felting, wet felting. They stay separated because they have already opened up and joined with each other. Okay. The only way you can get those to join is to needle felt it with other roving. Okay, let's see if I can get that toe going. So you're watching me do this in real time. And that way you get a indication of how long it actually takes to do something, whereas sometimes you'll watch a YouTube video and they've already prepared a lot of the things ahead of time. So it looks like it goes a lot faster, but it really doesn't. So I'm going to cut this in half. Okay, toe might be a little bit hairy, but we'll leave that. This guy's a little bit hairy here. Let me see if I can get it to felt more. Okay. All right, 3 toes. And I think the back feet are a little bit bigger. All right, so I'll take some of that white roving and see if I can get these guys to stay in this shape. Okay, and all right, we're going to anchor that down again. Just on this part, you don't have to anchor it all the way. Okay. Big toes there. Okay. This is probably obviously way too big, so we will take some more of that white roving and wrap it a little higher up. And a little tighter. Okay. That looks good. So instead of this brush, I really need to order a foam. They do wear out, the foam does wear out, but this brush is snagging. I guess the bristles have bent too much. And it's like Velcro, it's snagging the roving too much. So that's why I have this piece of plastic as a barrier, but this kind of foam, these wear out real fast compared to like a foam, like a sponge foam. Okay. So I'm kind of shaping this more like a rounded drumstick, maybe. Okay, that's good enough. So this will be the back foot, and the back foot, it's going to have, I'm going to have to add some wool roving here because I think, yeah, and I guess it's closer to the body like that. Might be a good idea to look at a real picture, but that's okay. We'll make imaginary mice here. As long as it looks like a mouse. And you can make a little tiny scarf and attach that. Or even a ribbon if you want. Or a hat. Okay, it's not on there really good. Let's see, where is it supposed to be? So like I said, you really want these pieces, these parts to be dry. This is such a small piece that I guess it's okay. Oops. Okay, I gotta shape that better. Because his leg is really short, you know, he's not like a giraffe with long legs. I don't have to put any wire or plastic support inside. Okay, because it's not, it doesn't have to stand up or anything. I think the legs are supposed to be underneath his body, maybe. I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to take some of this roving and actually, I'm just going to do this, turn it into a roundish ball here, and make this part, the little upper thigh, is that what it is? I don't really know what it's called. Rump, maybe? I think the rump is the butt, right? But that might be the butt. Okay. And then let me anchor that down. Use this. I have a bigger surface, so I'm just going to use this. Okay. Whenever I'm near my hands and my fingers, I go a little bit slower. I learned the hard way not to rush if my fingers are close to the needles, because you will stab yourself. Okay, so I'm going to shape this right here. Stuff that right there first. When you've got all your parts together and anchored and everything, at the end you can fine tune it, or really shape your animal. Okay, it kind of looks like a frog. I think the front is a little bit too big. So what I did was I dented in, and you might not be able to see this, so that you, I don't know if you can see this part right here. Okay. And sometimes you can squeeze it. Okay, I think I need to be a little bit muscular here. Okay. I think his front legs are too long. Let me see if I can give him that haircut. His finger's a little bit short. Okay, so that's, one toe is long. Not sure if this is what a mouse is supposed to look like, but so I've got just his one side only. I need to finish the other side, but this is what he's going to look like. And then I'm going to take embroidery floss and make a little place where I can hang it so it can be on the Christmas tree. But once I get all the parts to get the other feet together, I can fine tune it. Like right now, it looks like right here is bulgy. I can, unless he ate a lot. And I can define its neck a little bit better. And all you have to do is just keep poking and shoving, and you'll see it doing it. Okay, I think that's okay there. All right, so I just poked a little bit here to define his head a little bit better. I'm going to take the single one to get a sharper, neater line. And if you overdid it, you can always add more wool roving to fill in like anything that you dented in way too much. Usually the single needle is best for this part. So what I did right here is define its head a little bit better. Okay, so I think you can see that. See how it goes in more here? Well, let's see how many right there. Okay. So you can really shape it. Right here, I can do the same here. And this works with a single needle only. Get that accurate, sharp definition. Remember, I did this with the eyes too. I used a single needle. So right here, let's see if you can see that. See the little rump? Okay, I made that. Okay, all right. So hopefully next week we can do an animal that stands up. This one just kind of like sitting. Maybe I should make him a little cheese or something. Okay, that'd be cute for. And if I didn't want his tail to be like this, let's say I wanted it to be curly, I would have to insert a very thin wire. And that's a little bit tricky, but it can be done. Okay, but right now he's just going to be like this. Okay, so we will see you next week.